It's Friday, and that means there's a big Major League Baseball slate tonight to attack. I'm JT Hayes, Run Pure Sports, bringing you JT's Bang Bang plays of the day. So 14 games, we've got 3 expensive pitchers up top that I think you're going to want to start your lineups with one of these guys. So we've got to make a decision. Jacob deGrom, 2-time reigning Cy Young Award champion. He's at home. He's taking on the Washington Nationals, who are likely without Juan Soto, their best player, so a bit of a diminished lineup. Tyler Glasnow is also at home. He's going to be taking on the Toronto Blue Jays tonight in Tampa. He's a little bit cheaper than Jacob deGrom, and then right in the middle, a little bit more expensive than Glasnow, is Clayton Kershaw, who looked just like the Clayton Kershaw of old that we expected in his last start against this same team, the San Diego Padres. So for me, it's pretty clear I'm going to be going with deGrom. I know that he's expensive, but he's put together back-to-back 40-point performances, including in Coors Field. He gets to take on a diminished opponent. And look, if I'm choosing between deGrom and Glasnow, I know that Mets bullpen is not good. I know that the Mets want to let Jacob deGrom go as absolutely long as he can tonight in this one. And on the flip side, the Rays have Kevin Cash. He doesn't like to see his pitchers go deep into games. I'm not going to comment on the strategy and say it's terrible, but for DFS, we need length. We need strikeouts. We need innings. My goodness, if we could get a complete game and a shutout, then I think this is a good opportunity for Jacob deGrom to strive for just that. And then out west, Clayton Kershaw, I agree, much longer leash than Tyler Glasnow usually. He is one of the pitchers that Dave Roberts really trusts, but still, Dave has a healthy bullpen. He's got a fresh bullpen. Walker Buehler put together a nice performance last night. I'm going to go with Jacob deGrom and the New York Mets simply because, look, the last 2 games in Chicago, their starters were bounced early. That bullpen is tired, and I think they're going to need some length out of Jacob deGrom. Let's move on to the stacks of the day, and I'm going to start with the first game right out of the gate. Oakland A's, Baltimore Orioles in Baltimore. It's a nice park upgrade for the Oakland A's, and they get to attack Jorge Lopez. And look, we're going to find out really quickly. Is this the Jorge Lopez that looked like Cy Young in his last start against Texas? Or is it the Jorge Lopez that gives up roughly 3.3 home runs per 9 inning? I'm going to bank on the fact that it's going to be the Jorge Lopez that surrenders a ton of home runs here. Matt Olson has been on fire. He is seeing the ball well, seeing a lot of pitches per at-bat. He's hit home runs in back-to-back games now, and I think he makes it 3 in a row tonight. Stephen Piscotty is going to be hitting way down in that lineup, but he's just 2.9K. In the event that you wanted to try and put together a lineup with deGrom and Kershaw, I think you can do it. I think you can do it with an A stack. I certainly think there's enough value around the league tonight. My other stack here, look, Steven Matz has been absolutely outstanding to begin the year, but the wheels are going to fall off even a little bit at some point here, and the numbers show that Steven Matz has been just a little bit lucky with a batted balls in play average against him of under 200, and these Tampa Bay Rays are just ridiculously underpriced. Yandy Diaz should be leading off at 3.1K on DraftKings. Manuel Margot, 2.7K for a cleanup hitter against a pitcher who gives up fly balls and home runs to right-handed hitters. Yeah, that's a price that I want a piece of. And then you can even go to Mike Brosseau at second base. He is just 3.5K today. I like that mini stack for Tampa. You can package that with Oakland and just sit there and watch and wait for someone to try and catch you in your contests. As far as cheap pitching, we're going to need to find one, because if we want deGrom, if we want some Oakland A's, then we're going to have to find someone that can do pretty well and fits our lineups tonight. I think there's 2 guys that I'm looking at. One a little bit riskier than the other, and that's German Marquez. He has pitched really, really well so far in this short season, and he is just 6.1K on DraftKings. He is at home. It is a game in Colorado, but at that price, against a Phillies team, first game in Coors Field for them tonight, I don't mind taking a shot on German Marquez. I think you're going to get him at low ownership, and I think he can get you that 18 to 24 fantasy points that you need at his price. The other guy who was priced a little bit too cheaply, again, any of these cheap guys are going to be volatile options, right? They're going to be risky. You're going to have to dance in between the raindrops here. And the other guy I like a little bit is Dylan Cease, just 6.6K. He's at home. He's taking on the Texas Rangers. Look, I am not fooled. The Texas Rangers are going to score runs at times when they are out of Globe Life Field in Texas. They're in Chicago tonight. Dylan Cease is at home at that price. I don't mind taking some shots on him against a team that, yes, has some left-handed power, but they are also going to strike out in absolute tons. So Dylan Cease, Herman Marquez, pair them up with Jacob deGrom, stack up Oakland and those cheap Tampa Bay Ray bats, and you are going to run pure tonight. Get on over to runpuresports.com, get in our Discord, and if you like parlays, if you like overs, if you like unders, if you like money lines, get on over to runpurebets.com. That's where you can find all of our daily picks, daily bets. And guess what? It's not like someone's throwing these out and then you have no idea what the picks were. How good are these guys? They track their picks. It's on the site. They tell you. What did they do? Did they win? Did they lose? What's their record on the year? How many units are they up or down? I'm going to give you a hint. Nobody's down any units at runpurebets.com. Get on over there. Good luck tonight, guys.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports Hardwood show for some Friday night NBA action, and it's kind of a bonus / special guest appearance show. Me and AP are always here on Fridays. Sometimes we get Big T. Last week we got Holden. This week you guys get the full upgrade, JT Hayes, and our boy, the chart man himself, K Falik. It's going to be a fun show. 7 games. We're going to break it all down. If you guys got here early, you saw the video that JT Hayes did, the bang bang video that we just kind of started a couple weeks ago. It is, well, you know what? I'm just going to toss it to JT and let him tell you all about it. It's a new video that we have going here at Run Pure Sports. Tell the people what it's all about.
Yeah, so it's a couple days a week. Bang bang plays of the day. Just bringing you a couple of pitchers, couple of stacks, every now and then, depending on how generous I feel, a couple of extra plays. Today we talked about a huge 14-game slate in baseball tonight. So it's a busy day for us here. 14 baseball games, and they'll come out most Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, usually around midday. Got it up a little late today just because I was on a pod with DC until like 1 o'clock in the morning talking about this enormous baseball slate tonight. So, but it's good. It's good. I think the video today went pretty well. Felt good about it. Talked about our guys over at the bets site, runpurebets.com, and the fact that they track everything and everybody's up units over there. So it's you love to see that.
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of the bet side, we still have that promo going, Get Bets. If you want to try it out for free for a month, you have to select a monthly package that includes DFS and bets, and use that promo code Get Bets, and the bets portion is free. I guess to address the elephant in the room, a lot of people are hopping in here and wondering what's going on with my,
You just look fantastic. You just look
fantastic.
Yeah,
I think we need to. So what was best?
I thought I was watching Fox News.
You're wearing a nice outfit, and you just took a nice swig of Red Bull. So I'm thinking you're ready for that, like, college night out is what I think you're getting ready for.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of reasons why I could be dressed up, but it's my dad's 60th, so we're going out to a nice dinner tonight. And, obviously in the back of your head, even though it's your dad's birthday, you're still thinking getting to that WB at the end of the night. That is the goal still, even though it's the dad's 60th. We're going to have dinner. We're going to have some drinks, but you know what the goal is at the end of the night. It's part of the reason why I'm dressed up. Usually, you watch DFS guys, it's, hats, backward hats, hoodies, T-shirts, sweatpants, gym shorts. I mean, that's 99% of what I have, but dingers, all that stuff. But I had had to church it up a little bit tonight. So we'll see what happens. I'll give you guys an update next week. K Falik, thanks for joining us today. I mean, Fridays, last Friday that you hopped in a few weeks ago when we were at Big T's house, it worked out well for me. So I was happy when I got the message that you were hopping on. Right. So thanks for joining us.
Let's do it again. I will say I think you do have the second best background today. If I were to rank our backgrounds today, I would put me in first as always. And you're definitely in second over the blank white wall and the news on the background of AP. So
yeah, I'm not thrilled with the background and the setup here in my office, but like the wife, there's a lot of stuff that Hoop has control of in the household, but like the decor in this place, like she is like on it. And as a married guy, you guys know, you just kind of like pick your battles and like
100%.
I'm not going to fight about the shit that's on the wall in here. So she's got this. And I think I showed you guys before, the thing that tilts me the most in this office is this stupid ass like fake plant in the corner, but she loved this thing for some reason. And I've battled nonstop to try to get that thing removed. And as you guys can see, who's won the battle because the thing remains in the corner of the office, unfortunately. So that's kind of where we're at here with the setup in Hoop's office. AP is in a brand new office. He's got the news going in the background. What's going on?
I had to keep, I had to keep my eye on Bitcoin. I heard it's crashing today. And so, just is what it is. But no, I'm excited for the slate. I'm excited. We got K Falik on here, really excited to break down. And, Chartman, we're going to find some plays for sure. And we have most of our news, don't we? I mean, there's only a few pieces of news that we're waiting for. So
nice seeing Basketball Monster very quiet right now.
Is that good or bad, though? It just makes you think that there's some landmines out there just waiting to explode.
Good news is the Clippers, I think, have already made their decisions for tonight for the most part, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's weird when you look at this report because there are a couple pieces that we're waiting for, but nothing like it's been recently. Fingers crossed we can just get a nice, easy, clean injury report today. Don't have to worry about it. Enjoy the Friday evening. Who knows though? It's the NBA. You never know what you are going to get. Anything else before we go ahead and hop into this, boys? Good to go. Okay, cool. Let's just hop right into the first game. We got the Celtics. We have the Nets. 224.5 total. Brooklyn is favored by 3.5 in this game. And we got basically all the news that we need in this one. Kemba Walker out, Jaylen Brown out, Robert Williams continues to be out. Evan Fournier not on the injury report, so he is expected to play tonight. Who knows what sort of role he'll have. On the Brooklyn side, no Kevin Durant, no Claxton. Chioza continues to be out. Tyler Johnson out, and Alize Johnson out as well. Mike James is available to make his, I believe, debut, right, for the Nets. So with all that being said, taking a look at the Boston side, obviously Jason Tatum is in the conversation as a spend up here tonight. I mean, you look at this Boston Celtics roster, and there's not a lot of guys that can create, not a lot of guys that can score. If this game does stay close, I think Tatum has a good chance of having a very big fantasy performance tonight. 10K on DK. It's not, a price tag that we love to pay for Tatum, but considering the situation the Celtics are in, I think he is a fine option. Marcus Smart, same thing can be said for him. I mean, 6'9" is, we don't love paying 6'9" for Marcus Smart, but if this game stays close, he'll play upper 30s in terms of minutes, capable of filling up the stat sheet. Tristan Thompson is another name that's interesting. Center is actually pretty loaded tonight, so I don't think you have to go to Tristan, but 4.9 on DK. He'll be in line for a lot of minutes here tonight as well. On the Brooklyn side, obviously Kyrie Irving is another guy to put in that. I mean, we have a lot of good spends. I mean, he's 10-1. I think he's definitely in the conversation for guys to spend up on in tournaments. I don't hate going Tatum and Irving and hoping this one stays close and those two kind of go back and forth. In terms of the rest of the Nets here, I really want to see who starts. This game is at 7:30 Eastern when the slate locks. And we should, I will obviously get the news before the slate locks, but if Shamet remains in the starting lineup, I think he's interesting. DeAndre Jordan, curious to see if he's in there, 3.9K on DK. He would be in the conversation at that deep center position as well. All right, I'm going to go to you first, AP. What are your thoughts here on this Celtics Nets game?
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at the studs here, pretty easy spot to break down because we know Jason Tatum's going to get all the usage for the Celtics side, and we know Kyrie's going to get all the usage on the Nets side. I do think Marcus Smart is also in play on the Celtics side. I don't really know what to do with these kind of random value plays, Romeo Langford, Semi Ojeleye. And so for me, it comes down to like roster construction and where I'm placing my guys. We have, in my opinion, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 maybe 6 very elite spend up options on the slate. And they're all staggered throughout this slate, from Kyrie and Tatum in these early games to Westbrook and Paul George, in the middle games, and then obviously Steph and Jokic in the late spot hammer. And so it's going to be interesting. It's kind of weighing, which spots you like the most, which game environments are going to be most DFS friendly, and where the usage is going to be at. And the only knocks to this game is the Celtics coming off that back-to-back. Tatum didn't look great, but he's a guy that can always flip that switch. So for me, it's do I want to lock up Kyrie and Tatum early, or do I want to stagger it? Do I want to go Kyrie, and then do I want to get exposure to some of these other guards that we're going to want exposure to later in the slate? I'm undecided, currently right now, but that's why we're doing this show. To get everyone's thoughts, and we'll make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best point that you brought up there. There's six studs that are in really good spots, 5 or 6 studs in really good spots. And it's really hard to differentiate like where you go. I mean, Jokic, Westbrook, Tatum, Kyrie, Paul George, all in really, really, really good spots. So I'm curious to see everyone's take on this as well, because it's really tough to sort those guys out. K Falk, we'll toss it over to you next. What are your thoughts here on this Nets Celtics game?
Yeah, so first of all, I think one of the wrinkles for the Nets is what are they going to do with Mike James? Because Mike James is healthy. He's stretched out from the EuroLeague. Nets play street ball anyways for the most part. So the question is, how many minutes do they play Mike James? He's a talented player. There's a reason they brought him over, is because I think that they think that James Harden may be out longer than expected. They want him to be, so they need to get James Harden a replacement for him that can create. So that's where I'm struggling with the Nets. But I will say that last game the minutes were very condensed. And now Elise Johnson is out as well. So that's, while it is only 6 minutes or so, it will condense the rotation potentially even more, except for this wrinkle of Mike James. So personally, as long as things go as I expect, I think DeAndre Jordan is an elite center play tonight, because he has seen the minutes no matter what lately. He's gotten his 25 minutes no matter what. Boston is a big team, so they'll need somebody big in there. I don't think Blake Griffin's going to be able to compete with Tristan Thompson in that world. So I could see them playing minutes against each other. On the Boston side, I thought I was going to have more interest, but now that I'm looking at it further, while we see that two of their studs are out, Boston made themselves deeper with Evan Fournier in this Evan Fournier trade, and then you got Peyton Pritchard. Picking up Jabari Parker may not feel like it was a big move, but in a game like tonight, where they're short, him putting up 7 shots or 8 shots in his 15 minutes is still significant. So I'm not terribly interested in the Celtics. Jason Tatum is a great play for sure. I just think he's too expensive for what his upside is, with all these other guys that could have usage available.
Yeah, I mean, I coming in here dressed like this, I figured I'd be getting some backlash from the chat, and it's pretty relentless. It continues to go. Yes, guys, it's it is a little bit different from your boy Hoop, but like I said, it's a birthday dinner tonight. Got to get out of here right after lock. That's why you see me dressed like this. It's not going to be a permanent thing. I can promise you that. I'll be back to the hat, hoodie, t-shirt, shorts, sweatpants. Next time you see me, you can rest assured. JT, anything else to add to this Celtics Nets game?
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing that I'll add is something that our members in Discord talk about all the time, and it's a little bit of an added bonus here with Kyrie maybe having a little bit of revenge every time he plays Boston. Kyrie is pretty much the last man standing on this Nets team. Tyler Johnson was ruled out tonight as well. So, Kyrie usually plays a lot of minutes, but maybe there's a few more. And I kind of like him more than I do the Boston guys here, just because of the usage bump that he gets. Fallick talked about the fact that you do have Evan Fournier, who's going to be introduced into the mix here. Whether he plays 18 minutes or 24 minutes, it's still just a few minutes to take away from those other guys and a few shots. So that's the only thing that I would add is I'm pretty high on Kyrie tonight.
Awesome. All right. Before we move on to the next game, please do us a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us to continue to bring you guys these videos on a daily basis. Just really helps us out. So like button, subscribe, and we'll go ahead and move into the next game. We have the Heat. We have the Hawks. Pretty low total here, 212. Miami favored by 5.5 in this game. The big news, obviously, is Trae Young being out for a little while here. Opens up some opportunities for the guards. I guess this is the one spot where we're actually waiting on some pretty significant news. Clint Capella is officially listed as questionable. Gallinari also listed as questionable. And unfortunately for our boy JT, Tony Snell is listed as doubtful on the slate. I know it's going to make him sad and upset and probably hurts his feelings a little bit, but
there's a chance that there is a chance that he could play still. So let's hold out. There is still that chance.
Yeah, you're right. It's only a doubtful tag. He's not out. So actually there is, I guess, some optimism in this D next to his name. It is not official yet.
There's no optimism. I'll tell you why, because as you guys know, Tony and I had become quite close, and I did bring him some Moroccan food for lunch today, and he told me the pain was still there. He was still in rehab, and he hopes to play maybe someday next week. So they'll be without Tony, and I understand where he's coming from. I'm excited for when he gets back on the court, because I don't know if you guys know this. He is shooting 50% from the field, 50% from three-point range, and 100% from the stripe. And no one else in the league has done that. All these other scrubs guys we're talking about, Kyrie, Steph, what have you, they can't compete with Tony Snell. So it'll be exciting when he gets back.
He's definitely faking the injury the rest of the season so he can ensure that he holds on to that record.
To lock in those numbers. Doesn't want to take one more shot.
They're definitely resting him a little bit for the postseason too. They need him in tip-top shape so he can hit those clutch three-pointers to win the game.
Yes. Yeah, they're in the playoff hunt there. So, I mean, these valuable pieces you can't risk at this point in the season. That's probably why he's taking it easy. On the Miami side, the only bit of news that we're really waiting on, Tyler Hero is questionable, and that really isn't game-changing lineup decision-making news on this slate, so nothing really to worry about there. We'll go to you first, JT. Talk about the Atlanta Hawks here, and then any interest in the Miami Heat for you.
Yeah, so I think Brandon Goodwin should get the start here. 3.4K. He's looked good when he's gotten spot starts before for Trae. Over 30 DraftKings points in both of those appearances over the last month, 5 weeks, I think it's been. So I'm pretty interested in Brandon Goodwin as a piece to save on tonight. I think you could play Kevin Mortar at 5.8. Clint Capella news is big because I probably am just simply going to lock in John Collins if Capella gets ruled out. Collins has actually done well. It's a pretty difficult matchup at power forward. That was before they had Trevor Ariza, but I'm not really concerned there as much. The big decision, I think, is do you want to pay 7.8 for Bogdanovich here. And the way the slate shapes up, there's so much value at shooting guard in some of these later games. I just talked about Brandon Goodwin. And then I will say, if Tyler Herro is out, it does make Kendrick Nunn somewhat interesting at 5.1K. Again, Trey doesn't play much defense, but even with him out, I do think it may not be a bad spot here if Herro's ruled out to roll out Kendrick Nunn if you needed it. But interested in Goodwin and probably Herter and Collins, depending on the Capella news.
The Bogdanovich mention I do like, and the price tag, it is at an uncomfortable point. I mean, it's at 7.8K, but when Trae Young's been out, he's been very successful on the court. Production has been there in the minutes, especially. I mean, he's approached like 40 minutes in these spots. So I think he's definitely interesting. I think the price tag keeps his ownership down quite a bit. AP, what are your thoughts here on this Miami Atlanta game?
Yeah, I think Bogdanovich maybe on FanDuel will be a little bit more popular, but I honestly don't see how you play him on DraftKings because, you got to play him at that shooting guard spot. And we got like the guard spot is loaded tonight. We got Brandon Goodwin, obviously, then, Raul Neto and Armani Brooks are all the values at the guard position. And then you have the spend up options and Kyrie, Westbrook, Curry, all of those guys. And then you got to figure out what you want to do at center. And if you want to use the utility spot on, a double center route with spending down with a DeAndre Jordan or Daniel Gafford, who I like in a game coming up, and pair him with Jokic. So like for me, it really kind of eliminates Bogdanovich on DraftKings. I don't mind him on FanDuel because we know the small forward spot is a tough one. So for me in this game, it's Brandon Goodwin, and I'm kind of moving on. I mean, you could we talked about the small forward position being pretty weak tonight. Maybe make a case for Jimmy Butler, but I'm not seeing it at all. So for me, it's Goodwin if I want to go him for value, or else I'm moving on.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, Goodwin's pretty much the only guy I'm looking at now, unless Capella's ruled out, Gallinari's ruled out. Then you can circle back. I know like that Nathan Knight guy had some big games. Okanagwa, or however you pronounce his name, he's had some big games. Whoever starts is basically the guy that I'd be looking to if Capella is indeed ruled out. K-Fallic, anything to add to this Miami-Atlanta conversation?
I just feel like we're going to be revisiting this game hopefully later because I think that this is the one game where the news, as JT said, I actually think the Tyler Herro news is actually pretty significant. It upgrades Dragic, it upgrades Nunn, those two specifically, in my opinion. And then Capella being out, and as long as Capella and Gallo are out, that definitely changes the slate completely and the plans for the slate. I would say that one guy that isn't being talked about that I still will never figure out is Lou Williams. 4.3K. They're going to need him to score, and Atlanta's in the playoff race. They're wanting to win games right now. They're playing to win, and I think that they know that Lou is going to be one of the ways that they're going to win games is by getting a guy like Lou Williams some good usage and playing some two-man game with him.
Yeah, the one thing that's held Lou Williams back is really the minutes. It seems like they've been very hesitant to get him over that 25-ish minute mark, but if all those guys, additional guys are ruled out, they might just be forced to play him more minutes. So we'll see how that whole thing unfolds. But I agree, definitely a tournament option. All right, let's move on to the next game. Clippers, Rockets, 224.5 total. Clippers favored by 10 in this game. And the Clippers will continue to be without Serge Ibaka, no Kawhi Leonard, no Patrick Beverley. Rajon Rondo is listed as questionable. Once again, I don't think that is all that important on this slate. We know, the guys who want to target. Paul George, I think, is a phenomenal play. He's 9-3 on DK. And finally getting back to playing some good basketball and good fantasy basketball. His last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, he's had 7 over 50 fantasy points with a 260 spots in there as well. So kind of getting back to that high upside Paul George that we like for DFS purposes. On DK, is priced a little bit below those top tier studs on the slate too. So I think he's a strong play. Probably the only guy though that I really consider on the Clipper side. On the Rocket side, another cheap guard that I think stands out is this Armani Brooks, 3.6K. Played 34 minutes last game, 25, 26. Has some upside, and he's going to shoot when he's out there too, which is nice. He's had 7 shots, 12, and 11 in his last 3. The last matchup was against Utah and found some success against them as well. So that's a nice added bonus too. So the two guys really I'm going to be targeting in this game, Paul George, Armani Brooks. They're both going to be guys that are on the cash chart for today. AP, what are your thoughts here on this Clippers Rockets game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to add except for like Armani Brooks, a decision if you want to play. So there's 3 value guards I see, and I mentioned them already. Neto, who'll get the start too, but then Brooks and Goodwin. And the thing about Armani Brooks is if this game blows out, it's going to even be better for him. Like if you watched him, he got all the usage in garbage time against the Jazz when they were down by like 30 or 40 points. So Armani Brooks, in my opinion, is very safe in his role. If the game stays close and if John Wall somehow shows up and like is just in takeover mode and maybe he's hitting all of his shots, that would be the main risk to a guy like Armani Brooks. But I think at 3.6K, he's a smash play. So I love, if I'm playing this game, I'm playing Paul George at the shooting guard position, and then I'm using Armani Brooks at either the point guard or the guard position to leave the utility position open.
Yeah, I mean, I really think those two guys are both strong options tonight in all formats. K Fallick, thoughts here on this Clippers Rockets game?
First of all, I want to encourage everyone to be careful with Armani Brooks. Daniel House is back tonight, so he's back from being out for about 2 weeks. But I think he'll be playing the 2 guard with John Wall at the 1. They could still start Armani Brooks though, because they do need that second team leader out there. But I will say that this is the game that I am most interested in a tournament in GPPs, because if this game stays close, this game is going to explode due to the fact that there's condensed rotations and high usage players. John Wall is 7.5. He played. So if you look at the last game before it blew out in the fourth quarter, none of the Rockets starters played in the fourth quarter except Armani Brooks. So you had Christian Wood, who played 30 minutes. You had Kelly O, who played 24 minutes. You had John Wall, who played 30 minutes. Though, and Kelly O had just gotten his rest before, so he didn't get to play any half of the third quarter anyways. That makes me very interested in those guys. If the game stays close and you run it back with guys like Paul George, you run it back with guys like Ivica Zubac, you run it back with guys like Reggie Jackson, it could make a really interesting stack that is, I think, going to be very low owned. But again, you have to hope that the Rockets find a way to keep this game close. They suck. We are officially out of the playoffs. So I'm a Rockets fan for those that don't know. We are officially out of the playoffs. But I still believe that the rotation is going to remain tight because we don't have players. I don't think that they're going to try to see what any of these guys have, like KJ Martin, more than the 20 minutes that he's playing already. They're happy with him playing 20 minutes. They're happy with DJ Wilson being a fill-in position right now. I don't think anything's going to change now. So I'm trying to make the decision if I'm going to go that route in one of my lineups, but I'm very interested in it in a GPP route of just stacking up this game, because I just don't see how either team's going to stop each other really easily, especially if Rajon Rondo's out. I don't think that the Clippers have a good guy to defend John Wall.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a real good breakdown there. And yeah, Daniel House being back, he's been out for, it's been a while, right? Or no? Been a couple weeks?
Yeah, he's been out a couple weeks. So I think that you can, but I think that his minutes directly impact Armani Brooks. Mm-hmm. And I personally use Roto Grinders for minutes projections. I think that they have under projected Christian Wood, John Wall for sure. and I think they have overprojected Armani Brooks.
They have Avery Bradley too. That's going to be battling for those minutes. Which I mean, I don't know why the hell they're playing Avery Bradley at this point, but they are, and they're giving them pretty decent minutes. So yeah, that's a good point. JT, any final thoughts here on this game?
I mean, I would say I think in some respects, it depends on the starters, especially the starters. I think we expect that Neto is going to start for the Wizards, and currently I think I'm a little bit higher on he and Goodwin than Armani Brooks. This Houston team recently, it's almost like Orlando, where every other game there's like 2 or 3 guys that play 30 minutes, and everyone else gets like 22 to 24. So it's it's something Big T talks about too. These teams that suck, that are tanking. Do I want to take the spend there, or do I want to put my confidence in the starting point guard for the Hawks, who are trying to stay out of the play-in and in the top 6, or for the Wizards, who are fighting for the same thing? So if he's starting, yeah, I'll definitely have interest. I'm talking about Brooks.
Yeah, very good. But I'm with you too. I prefer those other cheap guards over Brooks. I think he's still in play though. I mean, yeah, we'll see. But there's more risk. There's definitely more risk than him than some of these other guys. Also, if you have not checked it out yet, we have that podcast going, Draft Sheet, every morning has a podcast and brings on a special guest. It's kind of like a first look NBA podcast type thing. So if you haven't already, check it out. You can get it on Apple, Google Play, wherever you get your podcast from. So check that out. Also, we have that partnership going with SuperDraft. You go to SuperDraft, use the promo code RUNPEER. You get up to $100 match on your deposit. We have a section in the core plays portion of our website where AP has been doing it, where you kind of list some of the core plays over there in SuperDraft, and he's had some success. So head on over to SuperDraft, check it out. RUNPEER is the code, $100 deposit match. All right, next game, Cavs, Hornets, 211 total. Hornets favored by 1.5 in this game. And in terms of the news, not much really here. Dotson is out on the Cleveland side. And then on the Charlotte side, same guys obviously out, Ball, Monk. So nothing significant here. It's a low total game. 2 teams that not great for DFS purposes. For me personally, this game is basically like a full fade. I am not playing anyone in this game. Just making sure. No, yeah, I'm definitely not playing anyone. Go to you first, K Fallick. Are you liking anything on this in this Cavs Hornets game?
I just still can't believe that the Charlotte Hornets are a playoff bound team currently. And I think that everybody's like looking at the Eastern Conference standings, if you do, and you're saying to yourself, okay, do I have a better chance of passing the Wizards, the Pacers? And then you're like, oh, wait, the Hornets are there. So it's such a shock when you see that the Hornets, who I think are a good team when they're healthy, are just sitting there. It's such a hard team to figure out right now. We just saw yesterday's game where we were all over PJ Washington, and he played 13 minutes. And that team just got blown out of the water, and it was just like it was an absolute joke watching them play. And I have no clue. Like, there are usually games where I feel like I have a conviction towards. I have no conviction towards this game at all right now, and it's very frustrating for me as well, because I usually do, and it may be because, as we all like to joke, Dylan Windler is not playing tonight, so that hurts me. It makes it very hard for me to plan out that game, especially on the Cleveland side. But
I intentionally did not go there. Okay,
it's the one time that I'll do it.
I thought about it and I said, you know what? I'm not going to do it. So I avoided it. You did it to yourself this time.
Yeah. I have to have interest in Colin Sexton. Like, I think that he's just a talented player who has major usage. And so as a guy who likes usage, I have to have interest in Colin Sexton. Again, I have no clue what it means though, because I just don't know what to expect from this game. So I'd love to listen to some others on their opinion, because I usually have conviction and I don't on this game.
We just got some major slate breaking news from Atlanta. Tony Snell ruled out. So adjust your lineups accordingly. But along with Tony Snell being out, Clint Capella also ruled out. So that's pretty significant news on the slate. Curious to see who starts. We should get that news. What is that? 7:30 Eastern game. Yeah. So we'll get the news probably pretty soon here. So Capella out. That's pretty big news. We kind of touched on it when we were.
We still don't have Gallinari news, correct?
Yeah, he's still a game time decision. JT, any interest here in this Cavs Hornets game?
Well, I mean, Kefalik mentioned that Dylan Windler is out, and in addition to Dylan Windler being out, Taurean Prince is out, and so on a position that is a little bit more difficult tonight, I don't mind Isaac Okoro at 3-6. He's starting. He's been playing between 28 and 32 minutes anyway. Charlotte's not the most difficult matchup, and if I want to go ahead and take a full Stars Scrubs approach, and now obviously we're gonna maybe find ourselves a little bit more in the mid-range with a guy like John Collins, but Okoro is probably the guy with Sexton and even Garland, who are guys that I probably play a little bit more than anybody else. It just doesn't seem like the slate where their prices are going to fit construction. I think they're good plays in this matchup. I'm not going to play these guys over the Goodwins or the Netos, and I'm not going to play them over the Kyries or the Stephs. So maybe that'll change as I get into making lineups, but for now that's where I see things.
So can I ask a question? If you think if Tyler Hero is out, would you rather have Andre Iguodala or Isaac Okoro as your small forward?
I mean,
because I'm saying
the one thing that does tell you is how shitty the small forward position is.
Yeah. If I'm choosing between, if I'm staring at a lineup and choosing between Iguodala and Okoro, most nights I'll say I got to start over.
Yeah.
Tonight, I know Iguodala went off the other night, but that was when Butler was out.
Sure.
Butler's going to be in. So if Hero is ruled out, like I said, I'll have some interest in Kendrick Nunn. But again, he's at a price point that just I don't think works tonight the way that I'm looking at roster construction.
All right, AP, any final thoughts here on this Cavs Hornets game?
No, I mean, like you could maybe like Colin Sexton's been playing good, Garland's been playing good, but I definitely can't see myself playing them. I think the pace is going to be slow here. I'm basically crossing this game off. The only thing that I'll agree with you guys on is the small forward position and punting with Okoro, but again, I think there's better plays than him. Like PJ Dozier, almost the same price in the late game, comes off the bench, much better play than Okoro.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that too, for sure. All right, next game, we have the Wizards, we have the Thunder. Big total here, 231.5. Wizards favored by 10. Obviously, the Thunder are not in the business here of winning basketball games, and these spreads continue to be big for the opposing teams. Tonight is obviously no different. On the Wizards side, we always talk about the Wizards and how you can only play Westbrook, you can only play Beal. But things are finally starting to shift a little bit, and we've talked about it all season. And basically every time we've talked about the Wizards, it's been Westbrook, Beal, and nobody else. But things are starting to change, and you got a guy like Raul Neto, who is very cheap on both sites, 27 minutes, 36 minutes last time out. And he's a scrappy dude when he's out there, and he can knock down shots too. So Raul Neto at 3-4 on DK, 3-6 on FanDuel, I think is a very fine play. He will have some ownership. AP's boy Bertans finally starting to see minutes, 28 minutes, 30 minutes, knocking down shots. And I mean, Bertans, you look at it, 12 3-point attempts and 10 3-point attempts, 22 3-point attempted shots in his last 2 games. That is perfect. That lines up perfectly for DraftKings scoring. He's made 6, he's made 4. So, 10 made threes in his last 2 games. He's going to continue to chuck, and it's a good matchup here against the Thunder. They're not going to get out there and contest all his shots. So I really like Bertans as well. Really like Neto, like Westbrook as well, Gafford. It's a weird situation where all season long we've basically been off all these secondary Wizards guys, and I find myself tonight liking quite a few. On the Thunder side, I'm not really going to be on the Thunder. I don't think you need to go there tonight. The price tags aren't even all that great when you start looking at them. So for me, Thunder's definitely a fade. But the Wizards, I like 4 or 5 of these guys. We'll go to you first, K. Fallon. Give me your thoughts here on this Wizards Thunder game.
Another game that I'm actually very interested in. So my chart eyes jumped very quickly over to what's going on in Washington, and I think it's something that needs to be discussed. So you went from, as you said, a rotation that was 12 or 13 deep at times, and you're losing guys. So you just lost Denny. He's gone. He's out for the year. And that impacted a ton. So you now have and the other big thing that happened was they made the decision to go with Russell Westbrook, Raul Neto, and Bradley Beal on the court at the same time. So Bradley Beal is now playing the 3. I wish that DK would make him a small forward and make our lives a little bit easier, possibly. I don't think he's a small forward. I may be wrong by saying that. No, he is small forward now. He's interesting. Yeah, I didn't even realize they moved him to small forward finally. But what ends up happening is you're losing rotation because you have 3 guys that have to play center. They don't play any other position. You have Alex Lynn, Robin Lopez, and Daniel Gafford who play center. That's all they play. And then you have the rest that are just trying to play for those rest of those minutes. So I have a ton of interest in Washington because the rotation is tight. And as JT was saying, they're playing for the playoff spot, which is very interesting to me as well. So you're going to see these guys playing these minutes no matter what. I disagree with you a little bit on the OKC side. I cannot believe I'm saying this, and it makes me sick saying it, but if Dort is playing tonight, you have to look at Dort. And it's just insane how many shots he's putting up right now. He put up 31 shots against Utah, went for 66. He put up 20 shots against Detroit, and he went for 44.5. He's got the defense to be able to fill in the spots to make it work, and he's going to be completely unowned. And again, he fills that small forward position as well. I don't think I gave the chat a hard time on the Poku play last game. I think Poku's interesting. He's been playing 30 minutes a game. As long as he doesn't get sick on the court, he'll play. And if Dort's not in, you got to look at Darius Bazley. He put up 25 shots, and he put up 19 shots the last 2 games. So I have a ton of interest in this game. And I think it'll be hopefully high paced because these guys like to run a lot, which ends up making rebounds available and everything else. So that puts those centers in play as well. You got Moses Brown who can break out for a game anytime if he gets run. He just hasn't been getting run lately. And then I know that people are very high on Daniel Gafford. I think my concern is that people are too high on him. But with Brook Lopez and Alex Lynn, but I have a ton of interest in this game, and I didn't even say Davis Bertans, who's a very, very good play tonight.
Yeah, I mean, just sets up perfectly for DraftKings scoring, like I said, with all the 3-point attempts. I mean, speaking of Bertans, I mean, we've got to go to AP next. I mean, I believe you call him a big, sexy Bertans, right? Your boy?
Yeah. No rhyme or reason why. But like, look, all right. So like, I got to go to this Poku guy first. I think if you're playing Bertans, Poku is very interesting to play at the small forward position. Those two, like, who's going to guard? Like, just like look at how the team's set up. You got Neto, you got a bunch of smaller guys, and then you got Bertans, who's a tall, lengthy guy, and then you got like Poku, who's a tall, lengthy guy. So, and I know they said they like Bazley on Westbrook, and if Dort plays, I know they said that they want to put him on Beal. So I mean, who knows what they do there? But if that's the case, you got Poku and Bertans who could just be chucking threes back and forth, and that's what we would want. Poku, like, no one's going to go back to him after he left that game because he wasn't feeling good. But this is a guy who's also, taking a ton of threes each game. He can hit them. He took 8 threes against the Wizards last time they played 30 minutes, failed to hit value for sure, but he's shown us 40+ upside multiple times in the season. So with how thin the small forward position is, I think he's a guy you have to give a look to if you like this game. Now, I really like Daniel Gafford. Brooks said that they want him to play at least 24 minutes. However, with this Hawk news, I think it might take me off of him because you got to figure they play Okongwu, who's 3.1K. If he gets a start, I don't know how I would play Gafford over a guy like that. Maybe a deep tournament play. But, the thing about like Daniel Gafford is he's like offensively, he's not the best, but he's such a good rebounder that if he misses a layup, he's almost always getting his own rebound and he's almost always putting it back up. So like there's times where he's on offense where he will literally rebound the ball to himself 2 or 3 times before slamming it in. So, and he has a ton of block upside too. So I think I'll make a couple builds tonight just to make sure I get Daniel Gafford in one of them because I know, so he's projected to be 18% owned right now. Assuming we get Okongwu starting for the Hawks, no one's going to play Gafford. I mean, his ownership is going to plummet. So, yeah, I think this is one of the better games to stack up for sure. I love the Dort call, too. If he's in, he's going to be very low owned. And just look at what he's done. The last 3 games he's played, 26, but then he hit 66, and then he had 44. But, I mean, look at the shot attempts and then look at his usage, and it's just off the charts. So, definitely, keep an eye on the news here. This game locks at 8 o'clock, so 30 minutes after the first game's locked. And, hopefully we get an idea on if Dort's going to play or not. But if he plays, I definitely have interest.
Yeah.
He's a lock on FanDuel. I will say that. He's a much better price on FanDuel, and he's a small forward on his FanDuel. And I think he's close to a lock if he's in.
5'7", 5'7" on FanDuel. Center, like you kind of touched on, I like Gafford too, but man, center is now by far probably the most loaded position. We're going to get the cheap guy in Atlanta, whoever it is that starts, and we have DeAndre, Nurkic, Jokic, Tristan Thompson. I mean, center is like loaded up tonight. JT, your final thoughts here on this Wizards Thunder game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to add. The OKC team, if they do get Dort back, they're another one of these teams where it's going to be Dort, Baisley, and I think Theo that are going to play 30 minutes, and the rest of it is sort of a risk which way or the other. Poku has been in that group too, so we'll see what happens if he's ruled in.
All right, 2 more games. Do us a favor. As I said earlier, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Helps us to continue to bring these videos to you guys. Grizzlies, Blazers, 232 total. Portland favored by 3.5 in this game. Injury news. The big news in this one is Valanciunas is out. Derek Jones Jr. is questionable. That doesn't matter. He sucks. Yeah, and I guess basically everyone else is in. So the Blazers are kind of getting back to full strength here. We have Nurkic obviously returning. He's the guy they prefer at center. The minutes for him are starting to tick up a little bit. Got up to 29 last game. He's only 5.2K on DK. He's going to be popular. Maybe not as popular now because we have so many center options, but he is definitely the premier play, I think, on the Trailblazer side. And honestly, probably the only guy I'd consider playing. I mean, the rest of the team, they're basically priced fully, especially on DK. You look Lillard 9.5, CJ McCollum 8.6, Powell 6.5, Cantor 6'2". I don't think you can play any of those guys. So for me, it's Nurkic, and that's probably it. On the Grizzlies side, John Morant is a guy I always talk about. I have a Morant problem, but I don't know. I think he still has that upside. He's a steady performer with the upside as well. The price is fair. It's not going to break the bank if you try to play him. So I definitely want him in my player pool tonight. Tillman, a little more risk now, obviously, with Jaren Jackson back, but still played 28 minutes last time, 30 fantasy points. If you're going to MME, I think he's definitely got to keep in the player pool. He's looked really good out there. I mean, he's looked really solid. And then the last name I was going to bring up was Grayson Allen, and that would just be because he is small forward eligible on DK, and small forward kind of sucks. So that is the reason why I think he's in the conversation. Let's go to you first, AP. Thoughts here on this Grizzlies-Blazers game?
Yeah, I mean, the Grizzlies are a team I try to stay away from when I can. I like John Morant in this last game that he played. He came out just on fire, and then he ghosted us. And so I'm not going to play him just because, as we've said a couple times now, like the guard position is stacked tonight. And then Tillman is a guy I like, and I know K Fallick was on him last night, and he crushed. But you can only play him in the center spot, and I don't want to target him against Nurkic. I just think it's a really bad matchup. Nurkic 5.2K. I think actually maybe goes a little. I show him 30% projected ownership. I think he might fall under that. I'm terrible at projecting ownership, but if Okongwu starts and then we also have Jokic on the slate, I think Nurkic is kind of priced in no man's land at 5.2K. But if he gets 30 minutes tonight against Tillman in this Grizzlies team, I think he could crush for sure. But then the only other guy that I had some interest in was Grayson Allen, like you said, at the small forward position. It's a weak spot. Grayson Allen has shown good upside, and I think it's a good matchup for him. I'm not rushing to put him into my lineup. It's more of fill everything else out. And then what do we have left at small forward? That's kind of where I'm at tonight. And so if it's Grayson Allen, it's Grayson Allen. And I know he's starting. I know he'll get the minutes, and it's okay, if I land on him.
Yep. No, I agree with that take for sure. JT, thoughts here on this Grizzlies-Blazers game?
Yeah, I think the plays here are Nurkic is the only guy that I would have interest in from the Portland side, and then Ja again in that spot, point guard spot that I don't think he's going to fit the build tonight. If you are going, let's say, a Nurkic and then a Collins, and you're going to do that mid route build with only one of these spend up guys, then I think he makes a lot of sense there. That's about it for me.
Okay, Fallick, wrap it up for us here.
I have nothing to add. I agree with everything that y'all are saying.
Fair enough. I like that. All right, last game on the slate: Nuggets Warriors, 227.5 total. Nuggets favored by 2.5 in this game, and some pretty significant news, I guess. Kent Bazemore is going to be out along with Pascal. We have Juan Toscano Anderson, JTA, listed as questionable. Pretty big. I mean, if he were to sit, they're going to be very thin at the wing position, and Oubre would play a ton of minutes. Wiggins would play a ton of minutes. They're already going to play a lot of minutes, but they literally would have nobody else to play at the wing position. So those guys would both get real big boosts if Toscano Anderson were to be ruled out. On the Nuggets side, some guys that stand out, obviously Jokic, premier spend, gun to my head, who scores the most fantasy points on the slate? I'm going to say Jokic. You get that nice little added bonus where, the minutes are not being jerked around at all with Malone. They're really, I think, going for this MVP thing. He's coming back in earlier on his second rotation, the fourth quarter rotation. He's getting in there real early. So I think it's a nice little bonus when you're considering Jokic. Will Barton, 5.5K. Me and K Fallick are kind of always interested in Will Barton. I think tonight is no exception. 44 minutes. That was an overtime game, but 34 minutes last game against Portland, 29 fantasy points. He's 5.5 on DK. I think he is a good play. And then PJ Dozier, small forward eligible. Small forward is not the greatest position. He'll probably play mid-20s in terms of minutes, and he's been productive. He's had, his last 3 out of his last 4 games have been, 23 fantasy points or more. And if you were to get in that range tonight, you would definitely be happy with that production. So let's go to you first, JT. Thoughts here on this Nuggets Warriors game?
Yeah, I think that potentially with all of the spend ups and teams and guys that are high priced that are getting usage bumps tonight, like the Paul Georges, Tatums, and even Kyrie a bit, I think some of these guys may go a little bit under the radar. So I do like Steph tonight. I actually very rarely will I say that I am interested in Draymond Green, but this is a spot where I'm a little bit interested in Draymond Green tonight. I think this is a game where they're going to need him. I think it stays close for the most part. And so on the Golden State side, it's those two guys. You mentioned Oubre, very cheap tonight. It's always difficult to play Wiggins, especially when we have other options. Thankfully, we have other options, and therefore I won't be clicking on his name tonight. On the other side with Denver, I think, you're looking at Jokic and then perhaps Will Barton. The Dozier play, I do think there's enough other value with starters that, I don't know. We'll see. It's one of those where now that we've talked about it a little bit, you've got, I think, a couple of guys on the Washington side there that we could put in that small forward spot. So certainly with the news out of Atlanta, makes me somewhat interested in Kevin Werder there. So that's pretty much my take on the guys from Denver.
Yeah, just got a little news on Fournier. It said Stevens basically said he's going to be on a minutes limit, and that will be in the low 20s. I think that's a pretty big boost to those Boston guys. I think big boost to Tatum and Smart for sure. And, even these secondary guys, they are tough to trust. But on a smaller slate, I think it brings some more guys kind of into the conversation. K. Fallick, go ahead and talk to me about this Nuggets-Warriors game.
It's another game that I love. So let's talk about Golden State real quick. Playoff race. They have condensed their rotation finally. They used to play 14 guys or whatever, and now they're down to last game playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. Got real minutes. One of them was Kent Bazemore, who saw 35 minutes last game. Kent Bazemore is out. The news on JTA is very, very big, in my opinion, tonight. If JTA is out, I want to have a ton of Warriors on my lineup. And I think it's going to be low owned. I think Kelly Oubre becomes a smash spot. I think that Draymond Green becomes a smash spot. I think that Steph Curry is good, but I'm worried because a guy like Denver's defense can now focus in on players. And I'm worried that they can focus in on a guy like Steph, and he's going to have to pass it out and do stuff. But he's been on fire also is another thing to throw out. I have a guy, I don't know if y'all want me to save it, but it's my charts play of the day is going to come from this Golden State game. So I will
save it.
I'm going to save it, but it's a very, very easy play in my opinion.
Hey, one more reason to hit that like button. We got 520 watching. We got 215 likes. If you want the chart play of the day, you're going to have to get those likes up, just so you know. So pound it.
On Denver's side, again, as you were saying, first of all, Jokic is just an incredible talent. Will Barton, I have a ton of interest in. He's going to do just fine at 5.5 on DK. A guy like Campazzo is the guy I can't figure out now because he played 27 minutes in the first 3 quarters, but then didn't see any run in the fourth quarter. If he sees run in the fourth quarter, he's going to play 35-ish minutes probably. And at that price tag, I'm interested in it. So definitely some Denver pieces. I don't have a ton of interest in MPJ. Aaron Gordon isn't playing the role that I need him to play. But again, another game that's a great game. I'm kind of condensing the slate into 3 games is what I'm looking to do. So.
Yeah, see, I think the minutes for Campazzo, I feel better about his minutes tonight than I've ever felt about his minutes in the past. You have
and
to.
Steph Curry doesn't play defense. So
you just have to imagine when Steph's out there, he's going to be out there chasing him around. It's just the perfect sort of guy for him to be on all night, as many minutes as he can be on him for. So I think the minutes for him are very, very stable in this game. So I do think that's a good call as well. AP, final thoughts here on this Nuggets Warriors game.
Yeah, so I disagree slightly. I think when you look at the Warriors and Steph Curry's just skill set, I think he's kind of a matchup nightmare for this Nuggets team that is relying on Campazzo, Will Barton, PJ Dozier in the backcourt. I think it'd be different if they had Monty Morris. I respect his defense just a little bit more. But if you look at what the Wizards did against Curry, they absolutely shut him down. They're switching on him and they're throwing doubles at him every time he got the ball. I don't think Denver's capable of doing that. And if they do it, Wiggins, Oubre, they're going to have themselves, nice games. So I love K. Falk's call on stacking this game up. I think this game is going to explode. I can't figure out how I want to stack it up, though, because we have so many elite spots on the slate. I feel like Kyrie Irving is safer than Curry because he's going to have the usage. He's going to get the peripheral stats. With Curry, one of the mistakes I made against the Wizards is it's all raw scoring. You need him to have a 40-plus point game where you can target a guy like Kyrie or one of these other guys where you don't necessarily need all of the raw scoring. So in this game for me, Jokic at the center or utility spot and how I'm leaning is probably a value center and then utility spot Jokic. I just think he's one of the safer options on the slate too. Massive upside, matchup nightmare. I mean, they got Looney. Looney's been a little bit better, but I don't think Looney's going to shut down Jokic. I mean, Looney played 31 minutes last time these teams played, and Jokic still put up, what did he put up? Like 60 some fantasy points. So, for me, it's deciding if I want to play Curry, if I want to play Jokic, and then what I want to do probably at the small forward position between Will Barton and Kelly Oubre, or you can make a case for Wiggins, who probably will be the lower owned guy in that range.
Yeah, a ton of good options in this game, a couple of different ways to approach it. But yeah, it should be a fun one. I mean, it's two teams, and it's weird to say, but I mean, two teams that are trying to win basketball games, and that's kind of hard to find this day and age in the NBA. You have so many teams that are out of contention and have a vested interest in losing games, and these are two teams that are fighting to win. Very valuable for DFS purposes. So I love this game here as well, and a lot of different plays. I mean, there's a lot of different plays, a lot of different ways to attack it. Definitely.
Actually, you know what? I forgot. Jamal Murray was playing that last game. Campazzo is going to be much tougher on Curry than Jamal Murray was. So I think K Falk does have a point there for sure. And I do want to mention PJ Dozier. I think he's a very nice play if you're looking for value. Make sure you put him in the small forward position, though. I would not put him anywhere else.
Yeah, just small forward. I mean, the reason he's in play small forward is it's just a difficult position. I mean, you can find good spends, good value at every other spot, really, except small forward. So I definitely agree with that. All right,
hey, JT, any JaVale McGee revenge? Have a feeling that he could get some run tonight, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, look, when he gets those 4 to 6 minutes, he's going to be violent. So we'll see.
Oh, I love it. All right, we're gonna hop into the plays of the day. It's a bonus day too. You get 4 of them, not 2, not 3. You get 4 plays of the day. Let's go ahead and start with the special guest, K Falk. He almost spoiled it, but we saved it here for the end. The K Falk charts play of the day. Who do you got for us?
All right, so Brett, I'm sorry I did not blink twice, so the play is not Campazzo tonight. My play is a guy on the Golden State Warriors who got some extra run after Damian Lee is out. We now add in Kent Bazemore out, and I see the rotation just moving on up and opening a spot right at the shooting guard position and the backup point guard position for a man named Jordan Poole. He's back down to 4K. He put up 16 shots last game and played 25 minutes. And I think that he could be in run for that extra run. I really think that if Toscano Anderson is out, Jordan Poole could play 30 to 35 minutes, and they play a 6-man rotation.
Yeah, I love that call. I mean, they're very. I mean, they didn't play. You said 7 guys last game?
7 guys.
Yeah.
He's 4K. I'm confident that he's going to have a good floor no matter what for me. Yeah. He's the value play that I want. He's going to have a good floor, and his ceiling is insane.
Yeah, love that call. All right, you know what? I'm going to go next because I don't want anyone to steal my guy, and then I'm going to have to find someone else. So up next is the 4X play of the day. I'm going to that Wizards game. I'm going with AP's boy. He calls him Big Sexy.
No!
I'm going with Big Sexy Davis Bertans, 4.3K, chucking.
You knew exactly what you're doing there too, Hoop. You knew exactly who I was on.
Hey, that's one of the benefits of hosting the show, right? That's one of the benefits. You get to pick the order, and it was a defensive play on my part. Wanted to get this play in. Big Sexy, and I'm stealing the name too, so it's like a double insult. Big Sexy Davis Bertans, 4.3K. Chucking threes, perfect for DK, 4X play of the day. All right, you know what? I'm gonna have AP go last. All right, we're gonna go to JT Hayes.
Hey, who knows if I'm changing my play or not? I don't have to change it.
Hey, you don't have to.
We can double down.
You can double tag team them. All right, we're going to JT Hayes with the Friday night Eiffel Tower play of the day. Who do you got for us?
That's right. It is Friday. It is Viernes, as they say in Espanol. Love to use that word every now and then. That and chupacabra, my two favorite words in Spanish. But I'll go back to that Warriors game. It's a guy I actually actively look to avoid rostering. I just think for a lot of the reasons we talked about, a focus on Steph, some injuries there, and a push to maybe try and get towards that playoff spot. It's going to be Draymond Green. I think this is a night at 6.9 on DraftKings that you could see Draymond smash that price, be a little shocked at the end of the night where if you don't have him, you're not going to do well.
Absolutely love it. Draymond, I mean, the rotation's so tight. And if this game stays close, the minutes could be around 40 for Draymond, especially if Toscano Anderson's out. So definitely like that call as well. Going to AP with the hair gel, and I'm with you today. It's usually you're the only hair gel guy. I'm a hair gel guy too. Nice. Yeah, but AP's hair gel play of the day. Who do you got for us? That graphic.
I mean, not my feelings are hurt. I had Bertans, so here's what I'm gonna do. Bertans is still my guy, but all right. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play Bertans, and we're gonna play Poku at the small forward position. Bertans and Poku are going to combine for over 10 3-point made field goals in this game.
Love it. Love it.
Two tall whiteys.
Dude,
Big T would not be on this play. I'll tell you that.
yeah. Oh my gosh, Big T. Yeah, I mean he's no white wide receivers, no white basketball players.
I think we got a few more gummies being eaten by Big T watching this show, trying to calm himself down over these whiteys.
All right. Funny. Well, great show. A lot of fun. Good knowledge here. I think we need to see who's starting there for the Hawks. We got the news on Boston with Fournier on the minutes limit throughout the show. Not really I guess we're waiting on Gallinari. But that's it. Nothing significant, but something could pop up. JSU Hold'em will be taking you up to lock on the final countdown. That's part of our premium product at Run Pure Sports. If you don't have a membership yet, RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports on a monthly package. Has to be a monthly package. RPS Heater 25% off that first month. All right, that's going to do it. We're going to get on out of here for AP. For JT Hayes, for the chart man, K Fallick, I am Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest.